Welcome, and thank you for coming. I'm actually writing a book right now about home ecology. I feel our need for home is a sacred need, and we all need a place of refuge and peace and sustenance. And I believe that when we align our homes with our values and we go through the process of learning about our values, we end up with a home that is very nurturing and harmonious. And ideally, this allows us to give more to the world. So that's a bit of context for where I'm heading with this. The things I'm going to be talking about today are the big picture, design programming, and concepts. What if your home just isn't loving you back? It almost works, but after living there for a little while, you realize it's got the dysfunctional house syndrome. What happens is we buy our homes for all kinds of reasons. We might like the neighborhood, we might have a friend in the neighborhood, we might be choosing it because it's got good schools around it. There's many reasons we buy our homes. We fall in love, and they seem pretty good. Like you get those 2 real estate visits, unless it's a new house, and sometimes you can have some more. And it seems like everything's going to work. But after living there for a little while, often we find it has what we call dysfunctional house syndrome. So I'm using this as a case study of one of the clients who came to me. They have a beautiful home in Westboro, and south is here and north is here. So they've got a sunroom in the south side, which seems like a very good idea. But it's actually got a roof on it, and it cuts all the light to the main part of the house. And it's just not a cozy space, so they find they're not really enjoying it. Years ago, they had a deck put on, and the carpenter didn't fully understand what they wanted, and it was supposed to tuck in really nicely here, and instead it jut out, and they were never really happy with it. They spent a lot of money on it, so they kept it, but it didn't quite suit them. The next issue with this house is the kitchen. For a family of 4 with potential to have a few more people or entertaining, there's a real bottleneck to get into it. And then once you're in the kitchen, if someone's making toast and someone's loading the dishwasher, it's very uncomfortable. We end up with houses that aren't really easy to live in. And often these days we want a kitchen that's the heart of the home, that's very welcoming, that we can entertain in. And so kitchens that look sexy with nice granite countertops and nice cabinets, that this kitchen happened to be, it's wonderful, they're pretty and they look good in a magazine photo, but you can't actually use them. And we want to try to make homes that actually are usable and work towards your needs. So we've carefully formulated a revolutionary theorem. It's very basic, but we're all about listening plus designing. And we joke about power to the people. The idea is that we see it as a design spiral and a co-creation. So my job, or our team's job, is to listen to you and learn about you, and then offer you design solutions, and you offer us design solutions, and we co-create those. And then we learn from your feedback on those. So it's a continuous spiral of listening and creating and designing and elevating the vision so that we end up with something that's ideally suited to you and your needs. And we think of this as exponential value. Design is where you add all the value. If you have a 2,000 square foot house, a 1,000 square foot house, if you're refinishing your basement or anything, it's going to cost a certain amount because of the real estate, the amount of ground you're covering, the materials, and all these kinds of things. And where you can really elevate the value, spend the same money, but elevate the value, is doing very thoughtful, sensitive design. And that's what we're all about. We really want to encourage people to think deeply about design. And we listen to everything. We don't just listen to you. We need to listen to your site and your community. If the schools are good, is this a place you want to stay for 10 years and raise your children? Is this the right home for you to invest in? What's the landscape and views like? How can we maximize the design so that we maximize the beauty and the function of the house? We joke about this, about who stays, who you wish didn't. We can fix that too. We joke about that, but architecture can do so much to facilitate harmony. And if you want to welcome guests for a long term, what would you need to do to make it hospitable and easy for you so that you don't feel cramped and you have to give up your bedroom? Or vice versa, what do you want to do in your house? Maybe you don't want to devote that real estate and cost to making guests be able to stay long term. And we really like to get to know you and what suits you. We are very interested in your closets and what's overflowing from them, because good closets, I feel, make happy homes. And we're passionate about the sun. So many of the homes we buy, we're not really thinking in terms of orientation. If I go look at a new condo development or a new housing development, I'm picking by floor plan. And I'm like, oh, this has a great mudroom. I love the laundry room right off the kitchen. I love the upstairs. And it's not until we actually get into the home and we realize that maybe the bedroom's getting all the beautiful southern light. And, you know, the kitchen is kind of dark, and we wouldn't know. It's the same floor plan. Maybe our neighbor across the street has the exact same floor plan, but their house is bathed in light. So we really need to be very site-specific and conscious of where the best value and optimal benefits of your particular site and home are, so we can really design towards that. So we care a lot about the sun. And we listen to anything else that needs to be heard to co-create the home just right for you. This is where the house porn comes in. We really want to get to know you and what really matters to you. House porn is the same as regular porn. It makes us lust after airbrush images of things that aren't really attainable. If we look at a slick magazine, even if it's Dwell, which I love the aesthetic and philosophy of, there's never toys all over the floor. They don't have toddlers who make a mess and spill their food. If they have a cup of coffee, it lands perfectly in the table and it never spills. They don't have books and creative projects going around. So we don't actually get a real sense of, it looks pretty in the picture, but we don't know if our arms can touch the two walls by the angle they've done. And so I'm very interested in getting to know all about you and what you value, as opposed to, I'm interested in those pictures of the beautiful sunroom or the lovely kitchen that you feel inspired by, but I'm much more interested in what your needs are and how we can design something that's truly tailored to them. So we have a series of design programming exercises. The first one is asking you all about your values. What's your peak experience in life? Who are your heroes? What makes you feel fulfilled and what makes you feel satisfied? And there's like 4 pages of discussion and exercises where you can sort of reflect on these things. And what I ask our clients to bring back to us, and clients means friends plus clients, because I don't believe we can make homes for each other without becoming friends. What I ask you to come back to me with is your 3 core values. And those 3 core values become the guiding principle of how we design your home. So that every decision we make is, do you want the double wall oven? Do you want the window seat with the nice bench for reading under it? Do you want a backyard with a swimming pool? All these decisions, we can refer back to, what do you value? And is this in keeping with your values and with the harmonious home that would suit you? So again, we're interested in focusing in on your values, your needs, your family, your site, and your community. We hear a lot of really positive feedback from clients. Recently, I had a client who worked with another design company that I'm respectful of. It's a good company, but they don't think about getting to know their clients, I think, the way we do by this note. And what it basically said was, in working and meeting with this company for 3 months, in one meeting and my design programming sessions, I was able to come back to them with a better understanding of their needs and vision than they were able to get from a number of meetings from another company. And I think the reason is because we're not always, I think we're asking the right questions. We're asking about who you are, what you need, how you like to live, what you care about. And the house design isn't rocket science. It's kind of simple. We all need a kitchen, a bathroom, a mudroom, some bedroom space. It's not really complex, but to tailor it to what really suits you is where I think the art and the science of it can really come together. So it's a wish list. It says you want a mudroom and a kitchen and etc. But it's in the context of your particular home, what the challenges and potential is, what we can do that would really meet your needs. And it's quite thoughtful and a little bit psychological because we're trying to make you a home. We all have houses. Real estate is abundant, but to have a home is something very precious, and that's what we're focused on. And then we go away and do a kabillion concepts. And this is just kind of fun description of the design process. You guys don't really see this, but it's very important that that step be done. So trace paper for architecture comes in rolls, and I'll end up going back and forth 3 or 4 times with concepts, and our whole team gets in on them. We go really hard on them, and it's so critical to look at all the possible permutations and options you can do in order to zone in on the best one. And so from this floor plan that we analyzed in the beginning, we give you a bunch of resolved concepts. So what I hear from clients is that it can be a little bit overwhelming because it's not just a variation of one idea. It's a number of different ideas that actually work really well. If you go to my website, this presentation is on the site, and you can pause it and have a look at the concepts. And I encourage you to, because it's a good exercise to see, oh, I like this and I like that. The whole point of this journey is to learn more about yourselves and for me to learn more about you so that we can make sure we're doing something that really suits you. A lot of times we hear about the dream home, or you can have it all, or all these sort of things that I feel really cloud our judgment. And I tell my client right off the beginning, and I tell all of you right now, we can't have it all. It's a lie. And if we do try to have it all, we end up with not a very good quality of anything. I'm trying to show you that, okay, if you want the nice galley kitchen in the center of the space, there's going to be a trade-off somewhere. And we need to know, is that trade-off valuable to you or not? And so all my clients are expected to appreciate the art and the maturity and compromise. And we look at things, and I'll challenge you and I'll say, do you really, one of my clients recently, we did a beautiful job. It was written up in Ottawa Interiors magazine in Modern Love in a beautiful 6-page spread. And she was a foodie, and she loved to plate her food. She loved to have, the whole beautiful island. So she had this whole island here without a sink in it. And the sink was over here. The kitchen was quite similar to this. And I was like, Jillian, I love it. It looks awesome, that sleek, beautiful island, but you've got no prep space. Like, you're going to be here and you're going to be so tight. And she goes, no, I'll turn around and I'll prep on the island. And I'm like, yeah, but what if you have a wet dish and you have to cross the island with it? And she goes, I don't care. We're going to have a mat there. It'll catch the drips. And I was like, yeah, but a sink in there, it's not a big deal. It could be really nice. No, I want it clean. So we went back and forth, and I would have put the sink here, but it's not my house, and all I need is for you to know that, yeah, this is where I really want it, and that we've struggled with it. We've really looked at that in the pros and cons, and we've made that trade-off of, yes, I get the sleek island, and I do have the compromise of less space. I go to Jillian's house now. She's a good friend, and I say, how is it? What's it like? She goes, yeah, it's a little cramped, but I love it. And the reason she loves it is because she was so thoughtful about it. And I feel that this journey of co-creation is kind of a heroic journey, and we know ourselves better through it. And we end up with a home that it's never going to be perfect, but it's going to be right. And anyways, so that's something I'm very passionate about, and my clients seem to really appreciate. In closing, there really isn't a dream home in sight in our world. We're not interested in creating a dream home for you. I feel that this whole dream home concept is like junk food. We want so much stuff because it's not actually nurturing and fulfilling to us. Our houses, if we look at houses in other countries, in North America, our houses are huge. In Asia and in other places, people are very content with a small footprint. And here we keep wanting more and more space, but the space isn't meaningful. In order to have meaningful space, a feeling of spaciousness, it's about traffic flow and view and sight lines, and not having places where you do this. You don't need a lot of real estate to have a very spacious feeling home. It's about good organization and thoughtful planning and flexibility. So our hope is that by helping you co-create this ideal home for you and truly listening and meeting your needs will fortify you, and you'll have more to give to your families and children and community and world. And this desire for a home for each will be inspired in us.